Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Rena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday morning. Hopefully it's a beautiful drive into work this spring as we get to the end of April. And I am excited to talk with you guys today about something that's just been on my heart quite a bit lately, especially as I reflect back on all of the episodes that Dr. Kuba and I put out in the month of April. They've definitely been deep, weighty topics, and I realize that we've kind of gone to the deep end necessarily this month, and I wanted to end the month with some reminders about the importance of what we do and remembering or reminding ourselves that what we do matters, and to talk about the various ways in which it matters. So it is meant to hopefully be an encouragement for you. I'm imagining so many of you driving in to work this morning and possibly needing a little bit of motivation to just kick the day off. Maybe you're coming out of a weekend that has been busy and tiring, or maybe last week was more difficult with some patient care that you had to do, or team member issues. I know that as we sometimes near the end of a month, we can have these moments of just fatigue. And I think today's a good day as we get to the end of this month to just remember, why do we do what we do, and why does it even matter? I know from time to time I get jaded like that. As much as I absolutely love every single one of my children, my husband can attest to the fact that every once in a while I look at him and I'm like, are we doing anything right? Anything good? Are we actually turning out decent children? So we hit these moments just in life with whatever we're involved in, parenting or work, where we can feel defeated by it or overwhelmed by it. And in those moments, there's this feeling of wanting to give up or wanting to just tap out and take the easy path. And I think we've got to have these moments to just reinvigorate and remember why we do what we do. So I want to start by sharing a personal experience that I had a few weeks ago. And it was one of those moments, I get a lot of inspiration from a variety of things, but it was one of those moments, and those very few moments, where I actually got inspiration from a doctor's appointment that I experienced. And so I wanted to share that with you. Some of my clients that have seen me in the wake of this appointment have already heard about this, but I do want to share it with you, the broader audience. So I recently injured my neck. I don't know what I did, don't know how I hurt it, but I am a pretty tough cookie. It takes a lot to keep me down. I come from a line of people that are just like, power through and quit being a sissy and, scrape that knee off and get back on the bike type mentality, which I'm so thankful for because it's made me a very tough woman. And so this neck thing, I was like, just power through. It's going to be fine. I couldn't move it very much. And the pain was so bad that I was having migraine type effects, like extreme dizziness, headaches that with like nerve endings that ended up at the top of my scalp. And so I was just really, really struggling. And I know I'm not a medication person. I don't take a lot of medication. I was having to take Tylenol all throughout the day. And anyway, I couldn't sleep at night. I would be up all night, not able to get comfortable. And so finally I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. This is impeding life and work and all of this. And so ended up booking a couple of massages, like a few days apart, because I knew it wasn't going to be a one massage type thing. And so did massages. That did not really help, to be perfectly honest. My neck was so tight that nothing would release it. And so finally I was like, okay, I think I'm going to have to get into a chiropractor or something. I got to do something. And so looked up, as we all do, looked online to find a chiropractor that was close, had hours that worked for me, and had good reviews. This is how we pick our providers, right? And found this place and thought, okay, I'm going to see if I can book an appointment. I tried calling, nobody answered. I was like, okay, maybe they do online booking. Went online, booked an appointment, filled out all my paperwork, and literally counted down the minutes to try to get to this appointment. And again, not to over dramatize this, but I was so desperate for relief. I just couldn't wait for this appointment. And so I walked into this chiropractor's office, and there was right a couple minutes before my appointment time, and there was nobody in the lobby to greet me. It was just empty. And I was like, okay, I hope this is okay. There were chairs available. I thought, well, I guess I'll sit down and wait. As I sat there, I heard some talking in the background, somebody back there that was talking. I thought, well, okay, at least people are here. They'll come out when they're ready for me. And sure enough, a few minutes after my appointment time, the doctor came out and introduced himself to me. And we went back to the little room, where the exam room, basically. And he ended up sharing a little bit about himself, his practice. I'm honestly nervous as heck because I'm in a lot of pain. I know he's going to have to adjust me. I'm kind of nervous about the pain of that. But also, I don't know. I hate going to the doctor, any kind of doctor, quite honestly. So I'm kind of nervous, but I'm enjoying hearing about why he opened this practice. He's a Canadian that settled here into Texas. So I was really curious and asking him some questions about that. And then he began to say, okay, enough about me. I want to hear all about you. First of all, just tell me about you. So I gave him some of the highlights, who I am. And then he said, tell me about your pain. And so I started to describe my pain, and it was, anytime you're talking about your pain, you want to try to hurry through it because you're like, the details aren't important. Just help me fix it. And also, I tend to be the type of person that I'm like my dad in that I prefer to ask other people questions. I don't really like for people to be asking me questions, and just enjoy learning about people. And so, that's my natural mode. So all of a sudden I was in this mode where now this doctor is asking me a lot of questions. So I hurried through the details of my pain, explained it as quickly as possible, and he actually slowed the conversation down. He was like, I want to hear a little bit more about, and he asked a few additional questions about certain types of movements and when it started and my headaches and all of that. And then he began to ask other not even health-related questions, because none of it had to necessarily do with my neck, but in general, my health, and asked a bunch of health questions. And so he's kind of slowing this thing down, and I'm thinking, gosh, I know he's only got to have a limited amount of time. I need to hurry this appointment up for his sake, honestly. But there was no hurry up feel with him. And then he explained the exam that he was about to do. He explained why he does the exam. He talked about the feet being the foundation. And even though it's my neck that's hurting, it all stems down to, what does my foundation look like? And so he explained his whole philosophy on why he does the exam this particular way, and then had me stand in different postures, and again, observing the way that my body is moving or not moving, honestly, at that point in time. And then did some further exams with my feet and everything. So by this point, I'm thinking, man, I've already taken so much of this guy's time. And so he began to feel around all up and down my spine, definitely feeling my neck, and explaining as he's doing this exam what he's feeling. And then he said, it's going to take some time to relax these muscles. My two of my vertebrae were just absolutely, completely jacked out of alignment. And so he's like, they're so far out of alignment, it's going to take some time to get them back. And so I'm like, oh, kind of like, I'm sorry. And he was like, no, we're going to take the time. We'll get this, back in alignment for you. So long story short, he spent forever putting heat on all different places of my back, slowly starting with adjustments at the bottom, waiting, reapplying heat, just trying to warm my muscles up to be able to even get to my neck. And then finally got up to my neck. It still wouldn't move. He went back, tried again, rubbed some magnesium cream in there to try to get my neck to move. And eventually it moved. And after all of the adjustment, he spent some time educating me on just health in general, especially with some things that I've got going on systemically. And so spent some time talking about that, which is unrelated to my neck. And then again said, hopefully you feel better, but please let me know. I'm the one that was like, when do I need to come back? And he was like, well, most of our patients come, once a month, sometimes twice a month. It just depends on how you're feeling. Just reach out to us when you need to come back. So said goodbye and everything. Walked out of his practice and I felt relief for the first time in, I don't know how long I had been in excruciating pain. I guess maybe a week and a half. Doesn't sound like long, but it felt like an eternity, and felt relief for the first time. And I sat in my car for a minute after that appointment. It ended up being over an hour long. And for what I paid, I was like, how did he just spend an hour with me? I should have tripled what I paid him. And I just felt so grateful for this provider. While he may not know it, he probably knows that he's a good provider. He probably knew that he gave me a great value in that meeting by slowing it down and making sure he was thorough, educating me all along the way, being mindful of how much pain I was in when he was working on my neck in particular. Being strategic about how he was making these adjustments so that I wasn't in too much pain, but also trying to make adjustments in a way that actually worked to where I did actually walk out with relief. He could have easily, and I've gone to chiropractors in the past that walked in and it was like a pop, 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 literally 2-minute appointment and I was out the door. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't want to indicate that there's anything wrong with that, but I think he took the time to do things right. And so I just sat there feeling relief for the first time. My headache was immediately gone. I had more mobility in my neck. I was still very, very sore, but I was able to move. I was able to sleep. I slept better that night than I've slept, honestly, in months. And I felt, when you're in that chronic kind of pain, you're snappy with your family, housework isn't getting done, you're getting behind because even looking at the computer screen is killing your headache. So I realized in that moment that even if he's so confident in how great of a provider he is, he probably has no clue what kind of impact he actually had. So that evening when I left his practice, first of all, driving home, when you can't move your neck, the amount of contortion that you have to do with your body when you're driving is ridiculous. I was having to I would have to loosen my belt to turn my whole body to look left or to look right. And so even being able to drive home, being able to look left and right without shifting my whole body, I was thankful. Probably was a safer driver because of it. So it probably impacted people outside of myself just because I was a safer driver. Then once I got home, I felt well enough to be able to cook dinner for my family. I felt relief enough to not have to take Tylenol that night, which I hate taking anyway, but it's like, okay, finally, my liver is going to recover from whatever damage I've done for the last week and a half. Not having to pump my body full of these pain medications. I was able to get laundry done that evening. I was able to get emails sent out, work on my computer done. And then going on into the next day, being able to wake up refreshed, being able to know that I was going to be able to do some of the chores around our house to catch up on all the things that had fallen behind because we were a set of hands short. Being able to walk into my client's office that next day and not be sitting in an excruciating headache, to be able to focus better than I had been able to focus the last week and a half. So that 1 hour or a little bit over an hour that he spent with me ended up being something that impacted not only my evening the next day, but here I am a few weeks later and I am still feeling the relief of what he did in that one appointment. And I've thought about this a lot since that appointment, because if you look at the logistics of how it worked, I couldn't call and make an appointment. That should be a knockoff, right? Like take a point away for that or take 10 points away for that. I had to go online and schedule an appointment. Walked in and nobody greeted me. Gosh, that's terrible. Let's take 10 points off for that. There is no receptionist. So once the appointment was done, I handed him my credit card, paid. Well, that's kind of weird. Let's take 10 points off for that. There's so many things that really could have been a knock against this practice. And yet I have so much gratitude for this provider in the way that he provided care to me. That level of care and concern and time and quality that he gave covers anything that could have been improved in that practice. And the impact that he has had, we get that opportunity on a daily basis. I'm one person that was in his practice today. There's no telling how many other people were in his practice that have experienced the same relief from the time and the care that he's given them. And yet we forget that in dentistry. We want to chalk it up to dentistry's no big deal, right? Like I can't tell you how many times I'll sit with a client or a hygienist or a dental assistant that says something along the lines of, well, what we do is important, but it's not open heart surgery. Or what we do is important, but, it's not performing surgery on the brain. And I get it. It's self-deprecating in a way. It's a way of reminding ourselves that what we do is important, but not that important. But I beg to differ here. And I want to challenge us all as we drive into work, as we make it through a Monday or get ramped back up for the week that we're up against. I want us to remember the significance and the importance of what we do. Whether you've got 2 patients on your schedule today or whether you've got 200 patients on your schedule today, you have 2 or 200 opportunities to provide patient care that it can be life-changing for that day or for that person's lifetime. I think about restored smiles and the impact that has. When somebody is missing a front tooth and they're embarrassed of their smile, they move their mouth a different way to hide what is behind those lips when they speak. They have a lisp because their teeth are not there, or they can't chew the way that they want to chew because their teeth are not working properly for them. We get that opportunity every day. And maybe there's not something wrong, bad enough that a front tooth is missing and now we've provided this person with a life-changing smile. Maybe what we do is just really great prevention. And we have a patient sitting in front of us that has, for the last 10 years of their life, has had at least one cavity pop up every single year. And we've tracked this person and we have tinkered around with what can we do to help this person prevent a cavity. And we've come up with a routine of more cleanings and certain products that we recommend. And now we're sitting here and it's been 2 years since that person has developed a cavity. That is life-changing. And yes, maybe it's not heart surgery, maybe it's not brain surgery, but it's still impactful and makes a difference for that person. We have saved them the pain of going through a procedure, the absolute loss of natural tooth structure that they will never gain back because of that cavity. We've prevented that, or we've worked with them to help them prevent that. We have helped them to feel successful in their prevention plan. They feel like a person that has good oral health because we have linked arms with them and have helped them to navigate that journey together. Maybe it is that we are in the daily opportunity of being able to help somebody get out of pain, like myself. And we don't realize when they sit in that chair and when they are explaining that toothache to us, we forget the impact that pain has on people's lives. We forget that they're grouchier with their spouse. They yell at their kids because they are in chronic pain. We forget that pain prevents them from going to work, which means a loss in income, which means greater stress on their family. We forget that pain causes sleepless nights. And when we lack sleep, we are less of who we need to be. And we get an opportunity each day to relieve our patients from that pain.
We give our patients the opportunity on a daily basis to use their teeth for what they were designed to do, which is to chew and to eat and to enjoy the act of eating, the act of talking, the act of good breath and good hygiene. We are in a profession where we get to have that impact. But beyond the dentistry, let's go beyond the dentistry, which is what we get the opportunity to do every day. We also have the opportunity, and I know it sounds cliche, but I want you to go here with me for just a minute. For all of you who are super black and white people that are like, oh, come on, this is fluffy unicorn stuff. Go with me into fluffy unicorn land, and let's just think about this for a minute. So aside from the dentistry, we get the opportunity to interface with patients on a daily basis. So I think back to this appointment that I had with the chiropractor, and his skill, his ability to evaluate my situation, to adjust me properly, to take the time to adjust me properly, that led to relief. My pain went away, and that is all 100% due to this man. But beyond that, the way that he conducted himself in that appointment made me feel valued and important. He did not rush me through. I rushed him more than he rushed me because I was thinking I'm taking up too much of this man's time. He slowed it down. He took the time to personally divulge information to make it an appointment that was not uncomfortable for me, just having to sit there and talk about him myself, but also to where I learned about who my provider is and what his passion is and why he does what he does. And that created this feeling of he's willing to even share that information with me. And then in turn, he's willing to stop and listen and slow me down and make me feel valuable enough for him to sit and listen. And all that goes in with that, not just asking the questions, but seeming genuinely interested in what I was saying. He made me feel valuable. He made me feel important in that moment by the care that he provided. He also provided this opportunity for me to have a conversation that, yes, was primarily about what I was going through, but he provided me with an opportunity to share about myself and who I am, and that was equally important to what I was talking about with my neck pain. We get that opportunity on such a great level in dentistry on a daily basis. And sometimes that opportunity is just one-on-one with that patient. Maybe they're coming into the office for their every 6-month cleaning. We have the opportunity to remind them that they're important to us, and not just because they have teeth. They're important to us because they're human and because we have the opportunity to get to know them. They're important to us because they're in our chair they have taken the time to be in our chair because they value what we do and what we provide. And we get the opportunity then to pay them back in a way with good care, with actually caring, and then doing a fantastic clinical job. We have not only the dentistry opportunity in front of us, we've got the relational opportunity with all of our patients. And I know people say this all the time, but maybe we are the person, that bright spot in that person's day, the one and only bright spot. Maybe everything that they have outside of this moment in our chair is stress. Maybe they have a highly stressful job that the second they leave our office, they're going straight back into the depths of hell in their job with what they do. And they had a 1-hour reprieve with us. Maybe we're their only reprieve today. Maybe they're going back home and they've got a special needs child that is the joy of their life, but also is the hardship of their life. And they have a moment of relief in our chair because they aren't having to worry about that child for a moment. That child is with a different caregiver and they have a minute to relax and to actually receive care. You don't know the stress that patients are walking through when they sit in your chair, but we have the opportunity to provide care, dentistry care and relational care for them that is hopefully life-giving. And we forget that opportunity. I tell this example to my clients and teams all the time. I say, you know what we do is important. And just as much as I believe that cup of Starbucks coffee that is just perfectly designed for the person that ordered it is important, and I know that cup of coffee makes them feel like they can make it through the day, what we do is so much more valuable than that. Because what we do doesn't just get a patient through the day. What we do, hopefully, dentistry-wise, gets them through the next 6 months with no dental problems, no dental pain. Or what we do gives them the opportunity that if they do become in pain with something dental related, they have somebody that they trust that they can call to take care of them. What we do is tell that person that they're valuable, that they're worth taking care of themselves, that they're worth our attention. That is our opportunity every day. So when we recognize the importance of what we do, when we remind ourselves of the importance of what we do, it allows us to bring vigor to our everyday life. No, we're going to not walk in today, Monday morning, happy Monday. We're not going to walk into morning huddle today grumbling about the day that's ahead of us, about the patients that we have to see, about the patient that's scheduled for a crown that is so insanely difficult to numb. Good grief, why did they have to be on our schedule on a Monday? No, we're not going to do that, because what we do on a daily basis is more important than our comfort. What we do on a daily basis is more important than how we feel about it. What we do every day is an act of service to our patients, and they deserve our best. We wouldn't have gotten into the field of dentistry if we didn't believe that. And yes, dentistry can wear us down, can wring us out. I get that. I walk in it every day with my clients. I know how challenging it can be. But it is important work that we do, and it's worth us figuring out how to walk in today and find the way to dig deep and have a different attitude towards our patients. It gives us the reminder, the importance of what we do gives us the reminder that the way that we look at that x-ray is important. The way that we listen to that patient explain their symptoms is important. What they say is important. What they don't say is important. The way that they're acting in our chair is important. Heck, the way that we sterilize our instruments, it matters. The way that we write that chart note, it matters. All of the details that we do on an everyday occurrence, it matters. Because what we do is important. Okay, so I want to leave you with this example that will hopefully kind of drive the nail in the coffin here and give you the motivation to figure out how to turn it on today. So I used the example at the very beginning of this podcast, and I said, as much as I love my children, sometimes I wonder if what I'm doing is actually working. So my husband and I, we've got 5 kids. For those of y'all who are newer to listeners of the podcast, we have 5 kids, 3 biological, 2 adopted, and each of them so incredibly unique and different. And anybody who's a parent out there knows that parenting to me is the absolute hardest job on the planet. But I also know that it is, I believe, my most important job. I feel blessed that I have an opportunity to impact dentists personally and be a support for them. I can't tell you how fulfilling that is. I can't tell you how fulfilling it is to support teams. I love the hygienists and assistants and business people and office managers that I get to work with. It is so fulfilling. But as much as I love you guys, I know that my biggest opportunity to impact this world, quite honestly, is through my 5 children. And so every day when I wake up and when I get met with, this child hates me, this child is not listening to me, I can't take one more attitude-y comment from one of them, I remember that on the grand scale of things, today is a small speck in the grand scheme. I've got, hopefully, Lord willing, 18 years to positively impact these kids and then turn out hopefully 5 amazing people that will positively impact their world and hopefully their kids one day. And then their kids will positively impact the world. I have that opportunity. So am I going to let the setback of today, the challenge of today, the attitude that one who shall not remain nameless might give me today, am I going to let that defeat me? Or am I going to power through and realize it's just one day? I'll get through this. And tomorrow, it may be another bamboozled day where I feel defeated again. But you know what? I'm going to power through it. Because at the end of the day, what I do with my kids matters. Every day matters. Every moment matters. And there's plenty of screw-ups that I make in the process as well. So I'm not perfect. But I'm going to keep pressing on because I believe that what I'm doing in raising those 5 kids is important enough to keep powering through. I don't know what kind of day that you're walking into today. It really could be a full moon. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm dropping this on a full moon day and it's perfect timing. You could be walking into a heck of a terrible day. But it's one day. Maybe you're walking into a pretty decent day, but you've got that 11 o'clock patient that you've been worrying about for 2 weeks. It's one patient. Power through. Do your best to provide phenomenal care today. And then do it again tomorrow. And I can promise you that you will have impact in every single patient that sits in your chair, in every patient that walks in and out of your office. You will have impact if you choose to believe that every day matters and every day is important. So, today's Monday. Do whatever it takes to remind yourself of this message. Get in that office with the right attitude and go serve these patients, knowing that what you do makes a difference and it matters.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone, but we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.